in your bucket or running far away from impending fire. You have a few seconds to take the wisest decision. Walk away? No, that is not enough. Shift? No, that is not enough. Stay there and gist and take shots with your phone? That is madness. Run. Yes, run away. Yes, your life depends on your action. The flames come suddenly, unexpected but uncontrollable. Why? Fuel is highly inflammable. Why? It just requires a spark to set off a ravaging inferno. So, don't stay there to think. Storm away to live. Do not throw away your life in anguish for meaningless fuel siphoning.
There's a cab service you can book right now in Jalingo. Sounds like a dream, right? No, it's reality. Let Supercab get you transported to anywhere you want to go in Jalingo, and let them also run your errands for you while you sit at the comfort of your home. And guess what? It is affordable, reliable and fast. They run a 24-hour service. You can click the link attached to this video to download the app, or you can also download the app on Play Store. I'm so excited for this, and I know you are too. Use Supercab today and be happy. Bye.
Welcome to the broadcast of world news from Super Media Television, the pulse of the nation. You can also follow us on Facebook at SUMTV and on YouTube at Super Media TV. I am Abraham Manajuda with the news in full. Trump pardons Silk Road dark web market creator Ross Ulbricht. US President Donald Trump says he has signed a full and unconditional pardon for Ross Ulbricht, who operated Silk Road, the dark web marketplace where illegal drugs were sold. Ulbricht was convicted in 2015 in New York in a narcotics and money laundering conspiracy and sentenced to life in prison. Trump champions Ulbricht's cause, joining libertarians who said the convict was an example of government overreach. On Tuesday, he said he has called Ulbricht's mother to inform her that he has granted a pardon to her son. Silk Road, which was shut down in 2013, after police arrested Ulbricht, sold illegal drugs using Bitcoin as well as hacking equipment and stolen passports. Ulbricht was found guilty of charges including conspiracy to commit drug trafficking, money laundering and computer hacking. During his trial, prosecutors said Ulbricht's website hosted on the hidden dark web sold more than $200 million worth of drugs anonymously. A prosecutor said he has solicited 6 murders for hire, including one against a former Silk Road employee, though they said no evidence existed that any killings were actually carried out. The scum that worked to convict him was some of the same lunatics who were involved in the modern-day weaponization of government against me, Trump said in a post on his Truth social site on Tuesday. He was given 2 life sentences plus 40 years. Ulbricht ran Silk Road under the alias Dead Paris Roberts, a reference to a character in the 1987 film The Princess Bride. The marketplace itself took its name from the historic trade routes spanning Europe, Asia, and parts of Africa. The site achieved notoriety through media reports and online chatter, but users could only access the site through Tor, a system that lets people use the web without revealing who they are or which country they are in. Court document from the FBI said the site has just under 1 million registered users, but investigators say they did not know how many were active. Ulbricht was arrested in a San Francisco public library in 2013 in an elaborate sting operation while allegedly chatting online with someone he thought was a colleague but was in fact an undercover federal agent. Investigators have been through a painstaking process of piecing together the suspect digital footprints. Xi and Putin hold video call after Trump's inauguration. Chinese President Xi Jinping and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin had a video call hours after Donald Trump was sworn in on Monday, pledging to bring bilateral ties to greater heights, according to state media on both sides. According to a dear friend, Putin said Russia and China were building ties on the basis of friendship, mutual trust and support despite external pressure. Xi called on Putin to continue deepening strategic coordination, firming up mutual support, and safeguarding legitimate interests. Trump on Tuesday threatened tariff on Beijing, calling it an abuser, and warned that big trouble will come for Moscow if it does not strike a deal to end war in Ukraine. Putin told Xi, however, that the Ukraine settlement must respect Russian interests, according to Foreign Affairs Advisor Yuri Yushakov, who spoke to reporters after the call. Beijing has been accused of building up Moscow war machine by providing it with critical components for the conflict in Ukraine. Trade between both countries reached a record $240 billion in 2023, up more than 64% since 2021. Before Russia invaded Ukraine. Putin and Xi confirmed readiness to build relationship with the U.S. on a mutually beneficial and respectful basis if Trump team shows an interest, Yushakov said. He also said, however, that the call was not connected with Trump's inauguration in any way. The call lasted about 1.5 hours, during which Putin and Xi also discussed the situations in the Middle East, South Korea, and Taiwan, according to Yushakov. Chinese state media says Xi also expressed readiness to work with Putin in response to external uncertainties without mentioning specifics. Xi held a phone call with Trump last week, which the U.S. president described as a very good discussion for both countries. They spoke about trade, fentanyl, and TikTok, among other things, he said. Putin had yet to speak with Trump, but congratulated him on state television hours before the inauguration. Taliban announces release of U.S. citizens in prisoner swap deal. The Afghan Foreign Ministry said the prisoner exchange brokered by Qatar was a result of long and fruitful negotiations with the United States. The Taliban government in Afghanistan has announced the release of 2 detained Americans in a prisoner swap deal with the United States. The Taliban Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Kabul did not name the U.S. citizen but said they were exchanged for Khan Mohammed, who was arrested in eastern Afghan province of Nangarhar 2 decades ago and has been serving a life sentence in a Californian prison. Following extensive and productive negotiations between the Islamic Emirates of Afghanistan and the United States of America, an agreement was reached facilitating the release of an Afghan Mujahid, Khan Mohammed, from a U.S. prison in exchange for the release of American nationals, the Afghan Foreign Ministry said on Tuesday in a post on X. The family of U.S. citizen Ryan Corbett, who was detained by the Taliban in 2022, confirmed he was released and thanked both the Biden and Trump administrations as well as Qatar. Today, our hearts are filled with overwhelming gratitude and praise to God for sustaining Ryan's life and bringing him back home after what he has been the most challenging of 894 days of our lives, the family said on their website. The Afghan Foreign Ministry said the prisoner exchange brokered by Qatar was the result of a long and fruitful negotiations with the U.S. Qatar lead negotiator Mohammed bin Abdulaziz bin Saleh Al Khulaifi confirmed the Gulf state mediation in the exchange with all the released people going through Doha. The announcement comes a day after the inauguration of U.S. President Donald Trump, who during his first term in office presided over a deal with the Taliban that paved the way for the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021. After Trump's election win in November, the Taliban government has set it up for a new chapter in relations with the U.S. India police volunteer gets life sentence for rape, mother of junior doctor. The killing of the 31-year-old medic at a state-run hospital in Kolkata city highlighted the chronic issue of violence against women in the country. An India court has awarded the life sentence to a police volunteer convicted of the rape and murder of junior doctors at the hospital she worked at in the eastern city of Kolkata. Judge Aniban Das on Monday rejected demands for the death penalty for Sanjay Rowe, saying it was not the rarest of the rare cases, and ordered that the 33-year-old convict must spend his life behind bars. Roy has consistently maintained his innocence, alleging he has been afraid he can appeal the judgment in a higher court. The 31-year-old trainee doctor's bloody body was found in a classroom at the state-run Ajika Medical College and Hospital in Kolkata in August 9. An autopsy found she had been strangled and sexually assaulted. Her parents broke into tears inside the court on Monday, saying they were shocked at the sentence and had hoped a murderer would be hanged for a case that highlighted the chronic issue of violence against women in the world's most populous country. We are shocked by the verdict, the victim's father told the AFP news agency, tears running down his face. We will continue our fight and won't let investigations stop. Come what may, we will fight for justice. Family members cannot be identified in keeping with India law the reporting of sexual violence cases. The federal police who investigated the case have argued the crime belonged to the rarest of rare category and demanded the death penalty for Roy. The state ruling Trinamool Congress party has also demanded death for him. Roy was arrested a day after the crime and arguments in the case began in November. The assault prompted India's Supreme Court to set up a national task force to suggest ways to enhance safety in government hospitals. After the assault, doctors and medical students across India held protests and rallies demanding better security. Thousands of women also protested in the street, demanding speedy trial in the country's slow-moving justice system. India imposes the death penalty, although it's rarely carried out in practice. The last executions carried out were in March 2020 of four men convicted of the 2012 gang rape and murder of a 23-year-old woman on a bus in capital New Delhi. The doctor's killing drew comparisons with the 2012 incident and led to demands by doctors at government hospitals for better security. Activists say new sentences requirements have not deterred rape and the number of recorded rape cases has increased. In 2022, police recorded 31,516 reports of rape, a 20% jump from 2021, according to the National Crime Records Bureau. French and German leaders to meet under cloud of Trump's tariff threats. French President Emmanuel Macron and the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz were set to meet in Paris on Wednesday to discuss Ukraine and economic issues as Europe struggles to respond with one voice to threats of tariffs from US President Donald Trump. Trump was also threatened Canada, Mexico and China with heavy duties, said on Tuesday Europe has troubling trade surpluses with the United States. The European Union is very, very bad to us, Trump told reporters at the White House on Tuesday, and they're going to be in for tariffs. It is the only way we are going to get fairness. Many EU countries have export-oriented economies already facing higher energy costs because of the war in Ukraine and a slowdown in trade with China. They do not relish the idea of a new front with the US. But there is little consensus in the EU on how to respond. Neither Europe nor the US has an interest in an escalating trade war, French government spokeswoman Sophie Primas told reporters. We have entered a new phase of negotiation with the US relations with President Trump as transactional. We must be as determined as the US. We must show our strength. Both Macron, who lost snap election last year and has had 4 prime ministers in 2024 alone, and Scholz, who is trailing his conservative rival in polls for the German election next month, are weakened politically at home. The pair have been fired on many issues in recent years, slowing down decision-making in the EU and leaving a leadership void that EU institutions have struggled to fill. Franco-German relationship must warm up very strongly and very quickly, said a French government source, speaking on condition of anonymity. Europe put in the relaunch without a strong Franco-German couple. One issue on which they appear to agree is on the agenda for the working launch at the Elysee Palace, a push to cut red tape and improve competitiveness. But while leading German politicians are pushing for a free trade agreement between Europe and the US, France says the EU must reject economic coercion and apply counter-tariffs if attacked. Indonesia fines Google $12.4 million for unfair payment rules. Indonesia has fined Google $12.4 million for unfair practices linked to its Play Store payment system. The country's antitrust agency said Google forced app developers in Indonesia to use its billing system, which charges fee of up to 30%. If developers refuse, their apps risk being removed from the platform. The agency also accused the tech giant of abusing its dominance to charge high fees, Deccan Herald reports. In response, Google said its policies support a fair, competitive app market in Indonesia and promised to follow the country's law. Recently, they also introduced a system allowing developers to offer users more payment options. Google controls 93% of the app market in Indonesia, a nation of 280 million people with an advanced digital economy. Iran says Swiss national who died in prison had photographed military sites. A Swiss national who Iranian authorities said took his own life while in an Iranian jail after being arrested on suspicion of espionage has taken pictures of military sites, Iran's judiciary spokesperson said on Wednesday. Switzerland has demanded a detailed information on the reasons for the arrest of the 64-year-old man who was traveling in Iran as a tourist and a full investigation into the circumstances of his death earlier this month. The person has entered the country from Dogaram, bordering Afghanistan, in October as a tourist in a car fitted with various technical equipment meant for different purposes, the judiciary spokesperson Assegar Jahangir said. The spokesperson said the detainee has hanged himself with a piece of cloth after turning off his cell lights and placing himself out of the view of security cameras. After passing through several provinces, he entered Semnan province that was arrested while being in military restricted zone, Jahangir said. He was arrested on charges of taking pictures of the military zone and collaborating with hostile states. Iran elite revolutionary guards have in recent years arrested dozens of dual nationals and foreigners, mostly on charges related to espionage and security. Right groups accuse Iran of trying to extract concessions from other countries through such arrests. Iran denies this. The UN spent $910 million for humanitarian crisis in Nigeria's northeast. The United Nations will this week appeal for $910 million to help tackle a humanitarian crisis in northeastern Nigeria, which has been in the grip of an Islamic insurgency since 2009 and was hit by flooding last year, documents showed on Wednesday. The EU documents seen by Reuters showed that 7.8 million people need help in the three northeastern states of Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe, and the UN aims to help 3.6 million of them. At $910 million, it is the most expensive humanitarian crisis in West and Central Africa, ahead of Chad, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, the documents showed. Nigeria is also grappling with a cost of living crisis that have seen inflation accelerate to its highest level in nearly 3 decades, propelled by skyrocketing food prices. The UN has previously said Nigeria Northeast risks becoming a forgotten crisis as the humanitarian focus has been shifted to crises elsewhere such as Ukraine, Gaza, and Sudan. The joint report by the government and the EU in November said Nigeria faces one of its worst hunger crises with more than 30 million people. Zimbabwe begins resentencing of death row inmates after abolishing capital punishment. Zimbabwe has started the process of resentencing prisoners who were on death row after officially abolishing the death penalty. The country's permanent secretary for justice, Vimba Yeba, revealed that key officials, including legal and prison authorities, will meet by the end of January to ensure a smooth transition for the affected inmates. The resentencing process will take place at the High Court, where each inmate will have their case reviewed, local reports say. Prisoners will be allowed to have legal representation either through their own choice or by state-appointed lawyers. After this, judges will decide on new sentences which could include life imprisonment. More than 40 prisoners are part of this process, including some who have spent decades on death row. The longest serving inmate has been at Chikurubi maximum security prison for 22 years. By removing the death penalty, Zimbabwe has joined a growing list of African nations moving away from capital punishment. It is now the 30th country on the continent to abolish the practice. Namibia unveils a Game Gob commemorative banknote to honor late president. Bank of Namibia has introduced a commemorative banknote to celebrate the legacy of late President Age Geingob. The announcement was made by BON Governor Johan Gawazab on Tuesday, January 2021. The Age Geingob commemorative banknote has been thoughtfully crafted to honor Geingob unwavering leadership and lifelong dedication to peace, inclusivity, and resilience, Gawazab told reporters. According to the governor, the banknote recognizes the late president's significant contributions to Namibia and marks the country's progress under his leadership. It serves as a symbol of national pride, an educational tool for future generations, and a lasting reminder of the values he passionately upheld, he said. Geingob passed away at 82 after a prolonged battle with cancer held pivotal roles in Namibia's governance. He served as the nation's first prime minister from 1990 to 2002, returning to the position from 2012 to 2015 and became president from 2015 until his death on February 4, 2024. Prince Harry settles lawsuit with Murdoch papers after apology. Prince Harry has settled his lawsuit against Rupert Murdoch News Group newspapers NGN over alleged unlawful information gathering, his lawyer said on Wednesday, after the start of the long-awaited trial was unexpectedly delayed. Harry, 40, the youngest son of King Charles, was suing the publisher of The Sun and the now defunct News of the World at the High Court in London, alleging NGN unlawfully obtained private information about him from 1996 until 2011. His lawyer said that a deal has been reached to settle the lawsuit. Junta-led Sahel state ready joint force of 5,000 troops, says minister. The joint force of 5,000 troops from military-led neighbors Nigeria, Burkina Faso and Mali will soon deploy in the troubled central Sahel region, Niger's defense chief said on state television. Juntas in the neighboring West African countries seized control in a series of coups between 2020 and 2023. Last year, they agreed to tackle security threats jointly after severing long-standing military and diplomatic ties with regional allies France and other Western powers. Niger's defense minister Salifu Modi said the new force will have its own air assets, equipment, and intelligence resources and operate across the territory of the three nations, which have formed a cooperation pact known as the Alliance of Sahel States. The unified AES force is nearly ready, numbering 5,000 personnel, Modi said on Tuesday. It is only a matter of weeks before this force will be visible on the ground, he said, adding that some joint operations had already taken place. Violence fueled by a decade-long fight with Islamic group linked to Al-Qaeda and Islamic State has worsened since the coup. Around 2.6 million people were displaced within the region as of end December, according to United Nations Humanitarian Agency (OCHA). The creation of the three-way alliance followed the country's decision to withdraw from West Africa's main political and economic group ECOWAS, which is still pushing them to reconsider the move that reverses decades of broader regional integration. Ukraine's Zelensky meets German opposition leader Merz. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky and German opposition leader Frederick Merz of the Christian Democratic Union Party, met. Amidst Russia's attack on Ukraine in Kiev, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Wednesday that he met with the German opposition leader Friedrich Merz just weeks before a federal election in Germany. We discussed ways to further advance a just peace for Ukraine as well as global challenges and the situation on the front lines, Zelensky posted on social media along with footage of the meeting. Germany will hold election on February 23 and Merz is currently the leading candidate for the chancellery. That is the end of this broadcast. Stay tuned for other exciting programs from the stables of the SUMTV. We're beaming live from the city of Jalingo, Taraba State, Northeast Nigeria. I am Abraham Mine Judah. Stay blessed.